Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to this very special edition of the Main Event Talk right here on YouTube. It is November 15th. It's Saturday. It is about exactly probably 55 degrees outside here in Corpus Christi, Texas. And man, the past few days we've been getting nothing but a good freeze, and we can tell straight up that the cold front has already arrived. So we no longer have to worry about Dead Wrong Dale every single time when we watch Channel 6. But anyways, welcome to this edition of the Main Event Talk. There's a lot of things we need to cover, including tonight. There's going to be like a double header heading into tonight's event. Now, there's two events happening, for all of you UFC fans out there, or for all you MMA fans out there, especially myself, who, digs the MMA every chance he gets. Bellator MMA is taking place on Spike TV for free. It's going to feature Tito Ortiz going one-on-one against the American Psycho, Stephan Bonner. The main event, cannot wait for that fight. And also, of course, there's another fight that's being taken place, but it's going to happen in the UFC live and exclusively on pay-per-view. So for those of you that want to see the fight over for UFC, you can go to Theo's Billiards and check it out. I believe the cover, there's no charge. You just go right in, check the fight out, see how that shit rolls. And, I can't wait for, is it just me, or is more people talking about the Tito Ortiz fight than the UFC fight? It's kind of an in-between situation, but the main event, cannot wait for that. So if you guys are huge MMA fans and want to check it out, I suggest you head over to Theo's and check out UFC, or at the comfort of your own home and check out Bellator MMA. I'll probably check that out first and then check UFC out when I head to Theo's later on today. Now, let's talk about a few things that have been happening. For instance, let's talk about WWE and the whole thing with Survivor Series. We'll talk about Impact Wrestling and how things are changing up on there. And of course, Lucha Underground, I'm sorry. Man, I tell you, I have been so impressed with the Lucha Underground every single Wednesday night. And I'm going to correct myself on a few things. I thought that the Lucha Underground would start at the same time as Impact Wrestling, but I'm wrong. If you guys got the El Rey Network, you know that it starts around 7 o'clock. And then after 7 o'clock, you get 1 hour of wrestling. And then after that, you get 2 more hours of wrestling with Impact on Spike TV. That's 3 hours of professional wrestling right there. And that's something the main event digs a whole lot. So Wednesday nights is wrestling night, and that's always a good thing, especially for a professional wrestling fan. So once again, if you guys want to watch the Lucha Underground, check it out on El Rey Network at 7 o'clock. And then after that, at 8 o'clock on Spike TV, you get a chance to see Impact Wrestling for 2 hours. 3 hours of Impact Wrestling, two major companies, one night, Wednesday night wrestling. Wrestling night, you can't help it. That's awesome. But I had a chance to see this whole thing with Johnny Mundo and the owner of Lucha Underground. I can't pronounce his name. I need to pronounce it, because I'm pretty much a guy that knows a lot of, Latino, Mexico, and everything else like that. He looks like a cross between Eric Bischoff and Vince McMahon rolled into one. But a Mexican it's like a Mexican version of Vince McMahon and Eric Bischoff rolled into one. That's what I see. And if Vince McMahon were ever Mexican, goddamn, he would own the AAA promotion easily. But no, don't get any ideas, all right? But anyways, next week on the Lucha Underground, it's going to be Big Rick. You guys know him as Ezekiel Jackson from the WWE, and he'll be taking on, of course, John Morrison, aka Johnny Mundo, on Lucha Underground next week. And I believe there's some sort of a shadowy figure. If you saw the ending of Lucha Underground, the owner looks like he was in a jail cell talking to somebody, and there's like this dark shadowy figure that covered him, and it's like, uh-oh, there's got to be somebody else involved. And, there's a few other people on the Lucha Underground that I'm very impressed with, including the awesome triple threat match that, they call it triple threat. Okay, let me correct this. They don't call it triple threat. They call it a three-way. That's what I'm still not understanding the format of what a three-way and a triple threat is. To me, it's practically the same thing, but if somebody can give me a format and tell me, okay, this is what it is, Furman. A three-way is where two girls and a guy, anyways, The triple threat, the three-way match that took place over Lucha Underground, featured three of the top superstars over in the AAA promotion in Mexico. One was Pentagon Jr., another was Drago, and another was Phoenix. And man, let me tell you something, I have not seen that much great wrestling action since TNA when it first started a long, long time ago. You know, that's the kind of shit I dig. And you know something, as a wrestling fan, I love how it is. I love it when they bring wrestlers from not just Mexico, but from Japan as well. And somebody brought up something about, you know, is it funny how some of the Mexican luchadors are more like Japanese wrestlers, and most of them do, you know? Like Pentagon, hey, he comes from Mexico, but yet he dresses up like a samurai, you know? And then, of course, there's Drago, who's from Mexico as well, but yet he looks like something that came from Japan, you know? Most wrestlers that I know quite well, like, let's see, let me give an example of what I know. Ultimo Dragon. Anybody that remembers that guy from back in the days of WCW to WWE, he was a part of the AAA promotion, but he's also one of these crossover wrestlers where he's from Mexico, but he was born and raised in Japan, you know, and he was one of my favorite luchadors, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Ultimo Dragon. And, you know, there's been a lot of wrestlers, you know, since that time, from him to La Parca to, there's so many names that I can possibly remember to bring up, but man, that triple threat match that took place over at Lucha Underground was the biggest example of why every wrestling fan should tune in to Lucha Underground. So once again, guys, when you get the opportunity, go to El Rey Network on your television screen, or any satellite provider that you have. I suggest you look at it. It happens on Wednesday nights on El Rey Network, starting at exactly 7 o'clock. I promise you, if you are a huge wrestling fan, if you're a huge fan of luchadors, check this out, because you will not be disappointed with the things you see on El Rey Network. Lucha Underground on Wednesday nights, and all I can say is that is the fucking shit. I dig it. Now, let's talk a little bit more about Impact Wrestling. I want to get to the WWE in just a moment, but I want to talk about Impact Wrestling. I had a chance to see it this past Wednesday night, right after Lucha Underground was over. And this whole thing with Bobby Lashley and MVP is starting to get very, very interesting. And Bobby Lashley is one pissed off son of a bitch. He loses the title to Bobby Roode. And then, all of a sudden, it's pretty much taken away from him by MVP. And Bobby is on a complete rampage to tear apart anyone that gets in his way. And it seemed like he was about to tear a new one on the King of the Night, Kenny King. And all of a sudden, Bobby Lashley comes in the ring and does what he did to Eric Young and Rockstar Spud. And you know what? Here's the thing, and I'm going to mention this right now. And this is about Rockstar Spud. Have you ever noticed that Rockstar Spud looks a little bit like Charles Robinson from the WWE? Kind of like that in the referee suit. But anyways, Rockstar Spud, to me, he's all right. I'm not with Spud yet, but until I see something that's going to impress me, like maybe him beating EC3, then I'll be impressed. But in the meantime, I'm not with you yet, Spud. You're good, man, but impress me. That's all you got to do. Impress the main event, Rockstar Spud. But anyways, Bobby Lashley lashes out on Rockstar Spud and on former TNA World Heavyweight Champion Eric Young, and then he takes his frustrations out on the greatest man that ever lived, Austin Aries. And it was a good match from head to toe, but Bobby Lashley did not care about winning a match, did not care about losing a match. He just wanted to fight and destroy anyone in his path, because all he wants is an opportunity at Bobby Roode for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship once again. But it seems that next week's going to be a little bit different. And if this is what I think it is, if this is the implosion that I've been waiting for, then every fan is going to tune in to Spike TV What is going to be the outcome of Bobby Lashley? Bobby Roode returns. It looks like there's going to be a fight melee supposedly between the two individuals, and what's going to happen between Bobby Lashley, Kenny King, and MVP. Something's going down, and the main event, cannot wait to check that out on Spike TV next week on Impact Wrestling. The main event, cannot wait for that. Now, we've got Lucha Underground out of the way. We got Impact Wrestling out of the way. Now, let's get right in to the WWE. Let's get right into Survivor Series, because as you guys know, we are, well, almost probably 7-8 days away, right? Yeah, 8 days away from WWE Survivor Series coming live on pay-per-view and on the WWE Network. If you get it on the WWE Network, you get it for free, no questions asked. You try to order it on pay-per-view, it's going to be $454.99. I should know because I've done it before. But anyways, Survivor Series is interesting, including the fact that if anyone's paid attention to the, I know none of you really pay attention to the theme songs and everything, but personally the main event does. The theme song for WWE Survivor Series is from Nickelback, known as The Edge of a Revolution. And first of all, it's a kick-ass song. And I know some people are going to jump on my case about, what? Furman listens to Nickelback? Listen, I'm going to tell you like I tell every single person out there. I'm a huge metalhead, but I'm also a fan of music. And I dig shit that fucking rocks, and it fits perfectly with anything that goes right. Nickelback has this song called Edge of a Revolution, and it fits perfectly with the Survivor Series. And if you also think about it, if you read the lyrics very, very closely, it kind of fits everything that goes along with this whole thing between Team Cena and Team Authority. What do we want? We want change. How do we get there? Revolution. We all want change, don't we? We all want to see the Authority go down. We all want to see the Authority go away. But there's a lot of things that I've noticed within the whole thing with the Authority and the whole thing with Cena. And you can't go back just a little further than Y2J Chris Jericho, not just with the whole thing that he said on Friday Night SmackDown, but the thing that he said with Michael Cole in the exclusive interview that he had. You notice that Triple H doesn't do his little interviews that he does on every Wednesday with Michael Cole. Well, he hasn't done any in the past few weeks since this whole thing with, with the announcement that if the Authority loses, his job is pretty much in jeopardy. He's done. Everything is out, and the Authority will no longer be in power. Chris Jericho made a lot of good points. The fact that there's a lot of people that do want to see the Authority go down. They want to see the Authority finished off. But the biggest question remains, if that happens, if the Authority loses power at Survivor Series, who will be in charge? And you see, this is the part, Jericho had mentioned that, and he feels that the Authority should win. And it's funny how 1 minute he says that the Authority will win, and then on Friday Night SmackDown, that's a totally different angle from there. So you kind of see where all this transides. Me, I see things differently. Here's the thing. So many years we've had several different changes in Survivor Series. Several different changes, and several different Authority figures change as well. From the likes of Eric Bischoff, to Vicky Guerrero, to Theodore Arlong, I think to Mike Adamle. There have been many that have tried to take over WWE, and even Mr. Excitement, Mr. People Power, John Laurinaitis, Mr. Executive Vice President of Talent Relations. Let me do my John Laurinaitis voice real quick. My name is Mr. John Laurinaitis. I am the Executive Vice President of Talent Relations and the Inter-Raw General Manager. And I pretty much suck, if you know what I mean. Jesus, I don't miss him one bit. I miss his brother, which is Animal, but I do not miss him one bit. Even when they did that 15-year SmackDown thing a couple of weeks ago, I don't miss John Laurinaitis for one single bit. And you know what was ridiculous? Let me just kind of bring this up before I continue on with Survivor Series. This thing with when Laurinaitis showed up, the people went completely, people must be that stupid, right? To go ahead and just, people power. I was like, why are the people chanting people power? Really? People power? John Laurinaitis, the most annoying